Social media and knowledge management. Syndicate Blue 7 investigated how companies are utilizing social media to acquire information, as well as how they are disseminating that information through the organization. For our Syndicate research plan, we sent out a survey to 3 companies who utilize social media extensively within the organization. We will discuss those findings as well as the implications of those findings for the stakeholders. The motivation for the selection of this topic is due to the competitive possibilities that social media is offering organizations. It is fundamentally transforming the way businesses ascertain and disseminate knowledge within and outside of the organization. Companies are now able to build professional identities online, as well as use those identities to distribute information, which assists in building relationships with suppliers and customers alike. Companies are also finding social media to be a good tool to source scarce skills and knowledge which is deficient within the organization. We specifically focused on LinkedIn, but why? LinkedIn attracts a very different profile of person than, for example, Facebook does. What is the profile of the average LinkedIn member? There are currently over 150 million members, which includes 75% of the Fortune 100 companies. There were also over 2 billion searches in 2010 alone. We therefore know this application is actively being used. The groups on LinkedIn are predominantly professionally orientated, unlike Facebook, where the topic of the day is more likely to be Paris Hilton or Justin Bieber. With about 1,500 plus groups being created daily and more than 3 million people joining each year, LinkedIn is creating the perfect platform for professional organizations to leverage these groups and contacts to increase business knowledge. LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network. How can LinkedIn facilitate knowledge management? We present 3 examples. Number 1, it can present your portfolio of products and services. You as a company are able to present all your offerings and get a feel of the market through LinkedIn. Most organizations use research companies to do this for them through surveys and sometimes through free samples. LinkedIn offers this through their published information and discussion groups. Number 2, learn about your followers. Your company page comes with an analytics tab, visible only to your administrators. Easy-to-read graphs are populated with information about visitors to your page, which you can segment by industry, function, and companies. Number 3, you can compare against competitors. With the analytics tab, you learn not only who is visiting your company page and which content is of most interest, but also how you compare against similar companies. So what is the reason for this research? This diagram represents the combination of learning, sharing, and collaboration, which is achieved by adding social media to a company's knowledge management toolkit. As the diagram states, when these work together, you get knowledge enhancement. Companies that resist and limit access to social networks risk losing the ability to compete in a new marketplace where customers, prospects, partners, and competitors are already exchanging information. Banning social media from companies may mean disregarding a large resource pool of experience and knowledge which could have been made available through the employees if they were allowed to access it. This slide is based on an article I read in the Harvard Business Review entitled Knowledge Management and Social Media. This article was ripped apart due to publishing a couple of misconceptions. Misconceptions such as knowledge management is what company management tells me I need to know based on what they think is important, and that social media is how my peers show me what they think is important based on their experience and in a way that I can judge for myself. But the truth is, the article is widely criticized. However, one specific gentleman named David Gertin, who seemed to be revered by the other knowledge managers, stated the following: people within the organization use social media as a knowledge management tool to have electronically mediated conversations, to share and to collaborate. Knowledge management is fundamentally social in its nature. Therefore, segregating knowledge management and social media, as done in the Harvard Business Review, is incorrect. They are in fact work hand in hand. Collaboration on a mass scale, like social media, consists of 3 key things. Number 1, social media technology provides the conduit and means for people to share their knowledge, insight, and experience on their terms. It also provides a way for the individual to see and evaluate that knowledge based on the judgment of others. Judgment of others, meaning comments and feedback similar to those comments made by David Gertin on the Harvard Business Review I mentioned earlier. Number 2 is purpose. Purpose is the reason people participate and contribute their ideas, experience, and knowledge. They participate personally in a social media because they value the identity with that purpose. They do so because they want to, rather than being told to as a part of their job. Number 3 is communities. Communities are self-forming in social media. Participation becomes a type of mandatory fun. Social media allows communities to emerge as they are aligned to that purpose. This lack of structure creates a space for active and innovative communities. New uses. Social media has introduced companies to a new population of users and knowledge managers. Users that they may not have been aware of prior to social media. These customers are using and adapting their products in ways that these companies had not envisioned. Furthermore, social media allows businesses to tap into new collective knowledge. For example, if a business received a rather unique request from a customer, social media is an effective way of searching for an answer in the business's partner ecosystem, customer base, and this new user universe. This slide presents a summary of where social media is on the hypercycle, as well as how companies are using social media for internal and external improvements. Social media and analytics are presented in the peak of inflated expectations. So we have to understand that this social media platform is an additional tool and not the only tool to effective knowledge management. As the cycle suggests, it was high expectations and is currently producing good results, but the longevity is yet to be tested. We should still be maintaining other forms of knowledge retrieval and management. RealInit says it well. Internal use of social network communities are to connect employees, stimulate discussion, and retrieve and exchange knowledge. External uses of social network communities are market research by stimulating and observing discussions, to involve customers in product and service development, and to generate word-of-mouth advertising, and harvesting extreme customer loyalty and subtle marketing. Research plan and execution. Blue7 designed a 7-question survey and sent it out to 3 companies who actively use social media. Companies such as Quirk, Synack, and Native. We asked questions such as, which social network application does your company use? And do you use any social network applications to communicate with employees or stakeholders? We asked these questions and 5 others. So what are the research findings? The breadth of social media. All 3 of the companies surveyed have a presence on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn to communicate internally and externally. This speaks to Carl Erich's diagram indicating where knowledge or intangible assets lie. Social media allows for all 3 of these intangible assets to be used. Internally, it is used to establish an internal sharing structure to encourage knowledge sharing as well as maintain the company's corporate culture. External structure, we found it assists in communicating the message to customers and suppliers. Internal competence is mostly revealed through the question and answer forums. It can also be used as an employment tool. All of the companies surveyed have used LinkedIn to hire personnel successfully, and this is proving to be a cost saver as they no longer have to pay commission to recruitment agencies. Data processing. All the companies had a tool to capture and store the information published through social media. These tools varied from a reputation tool which gathers only reputable data based on some criteria. Others have a tool that automatically creates reports on usage. Adverse publicity. Social media has become a good way for handling adverse publicity. Having a presence on social media means dissatisfied clients have a means of communicating directly with the company without having to do it face to face. This means fewer clients are going to go to Hello Peter and other similar mudslinging sites. This platform allows companies to respond quicker as the feedback is immediate and damage control can take place. All 3 companies have taken advantage of this speedy response. As a knowledge management tool. 2 of the 3 companies are actively using social media as a knowledge management tool. Quirk mentioned how their social media strategy is guided by their knowledge management strategy and how it's been an asset in educating and sharing knowledge. Stakeholder implications, findings, and recommendations. Social media is a mechanism to recommend new content. Social media provides a simple way to recommend content through social channels, such as company-sponsored forums and communities, or online feedback forums. This feedback can be used to rework content to bring it in line with the user's needs and expectations. Reputation of content contributors. Social media enables users to comment on the value of contributions, and therefore begin building a social reputation rating for the quality of the content contributed. This assists in ensuring that the knowledge contributed is acceptable and reputable. Social media offers content on subscription to help communities stay up to date on what matters most to them, meaning you only get the information you want. Businesses can monitor the quality of their offerings, being it the service or a product, by regularly doing surveys and question and answer groups. This means they will always be in touch with what the customer wants. Social media applications like LinkedIn promote internal forums or groups so that internal individual competence can be extracted to enhance knowledge sharing internally to your organization. Social media is a need for any successful company's knowledge management system. It provides a voluntary, non-intrusive and open forum for all stakeholders to acquire knowledge and add to the knowledge pool. We would like to acknowledge the resources we used in our research. This concludes this video. Thank you for listening.